Okay, everybody. Can you hear me?
Hi, Markus.
Hey.
Hey, Markus.
Hey, Markus.
Hello.
Hello.
Wie geht's?
Yes. Alles gut, danke. Hey, so welcome everybody. I hope you got the audio movers working. And
It's lovely.
I guess I'll the idea is that I just start, but I just want to give you just a quick idea what I did. About an hour ago, I started, and let me share with you the Helix editor software here.
I just downloaded that.
And yeah, for some reason now I have a problem here with the Zoom things. Let me try to move that. Yeah, this is, I mean, I'm on a laptop, so the screen is really too small for what I'm trying to do here. But anyway, I'm not going to do that much here with the Helix editor. I set up a few configurations of this chain that you can see here. So a compressor, effects loop that's going into the plus pedal, which is a sustainer pedal, pitch shifter, which does octave down, octave up. Then effects loop going into the SY300 Boss guitar synthesizer, it's this one here. Then I have a compressor behind that, and then the volume pedal. And then this path goes into the second path, and there's a distortion, another compressor, a chorus, and reverb and delay. So that's the full signal chain, and I have set up these, can't even remember what it's called, snapshots, I think. Which snapshots. Like with my pedal board, I can you see like it's changed here to a sound that I call sus, just a sustain. And then I have like sustain synth. I have sustain with a sub. So that's where the pitch shifter comes in at a -12 setting. Then I have a synth octave up. Here interval of the pitch shifter is at +12. Then I have like just the sustaining, the sound we had at the beginning. Now it's the same sound just with the chorus. Then I have the sustaining sound with crunch. Now here the distortion and the compression come in. Then I have a like the sub sound, like the low octave with distortion. And here at the end is what I call like a clean sound. It's just the pure guitar with the reverb and delay and a little bit of I think with chorus also. So what you're hearing right now here.
Markus.
Yes.
I can't hear you barely. It's much louder the loop than you speak. Your voice is very soft.
Is it soft for everybody else, or is it fine?
I can hear you fine, but I cannot.
I think it's good.
Yeah, I think
fine, both of them. Yeah.
You can Hugo, in the audio movers, you can turn the audio movers down. There should be level control.
There is.
Okay.
I had to do that.
Yeah. Sorry, this is really impossible to control on my end. I don't really. This whole thing is like super convoluted. I'm going to do my best so that it's going to work out for you guys. So now let me just go back here to Ableton. So I have my little Korg Nano Control here in front of me, and I have why does Ableton not? Here we go. So you see, like I can bring up like the volumes here of these two channels. Now they're off, so we don't hear anything. Okay, bring this one up. Yeah. And then this guy here is like the soft background thing that you hear, which I can open up the filter here so you hear what's really in there. It's this. I recorded that about like maybe 10 minutes before we started here. So here I can kind of also fade it out with the filter. This is kind of like a special feature in a way. Like you can filter something that much, like you can cut the high end so much that it fades out completely. And this is like also something that I use for musical effect, which you'll see like as I'm demonstrating right now already. Okay, here on Looper 2, we have this clean guitar. Kind of sparse, huh? Okay, so I'm going to start recording here now, and I'll just bring the volume down. And so let's find a way, like a mode to do this, because I do want to try to concentrate on the performance and the recording. I guess it's more a recording session than a concert. But I want us to interact in some way anyway. So like if there are questions, don't, just ask. Like if I'm like so concentrated that I can't reply, then I won't reply. Yeah, so, but let's just try to keep some discussion going while I do this. Okay, so I'm going to start record. I'm just going to record the master channel here. I'm not going to do any multi-track recording. So it's going to be like a representation of also the things that you're hearing. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring up this channel, Looper 1, and I'll bring the loop in by opening the filter. And now I'm slowly fading in loop 2, while at the same time I gained up the mix of the reverb and the length of the reverb. So you'll hear the clean sound now very far in the distance and with a really long reverb tail. So you see what I'm doing here is with the controls, I'm kind of building an arrangement. So I'm thinking in terms of a musical performance at all times. So still fading in that second loop. And now I'm actually gonna very slowly get rid of a little bit of that reverb. So just for the dramatic effect, let's say, of the part coming in. So while I do that, I'm going to bring up the reverb level. You can't see this on screen, unfortunately, but I'm going to bring up the reverb level of Looper 1. You can hear more resonance there now on Looper 1. For now, they are completely, there's no interaction between the two loopers at the moment. They are just in the play mode. Let me just click here. So you see on Looper 1, it's in play mode. So it's not recording anything from Looper 2 or vice versa. So since for me this really is a performance, I'm not gonna rush, I'm gonna just move the faders and do the things the way that I would, just like doing a real performance or recording session. So I'm gonna make the clean looper quite dry now. And loop 1 now is 100% wet. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to fade out loop 1. I'm going to fade it out before the delay. And then I'm going to pitch it down an octave. And now I'm going to fade it back in. So now you hear the low frequencies coming in here. Now I'm opening the filter a little bit here on Looper 1. since this is now pitched down an octave, I can allow for more high frequencies to come through. So now I'm going to do something quite drastic. I'm going to put both loopers into a long reverb and fade them out. Now the loopers have been faded out. And now I put the two loopers into overdub mode. And I'm fading the loops back in. But now they will start, because I'm going to open this up, so they will start cross feedbacking. And actually I have the glitch here, which I don't want. Let's just say fade. So now we're getting some high notes. So now we're getting this interaction. And you will hear that things will get more dense because the clean sounds will get, repeated back in loop one, coming through loop one at some point. So, but now, since I don't want that maybe to get too overwhelming, what I'm going to do is that here on looper 2, I'm going to fade the treble out. So now you hear that? Now the clean sounds, they are filtered down. I removed the highs. Okay, so you see here on the input channel, I'm only sending stuff to looper 2. Let's just send something to both. And now I'm on the Helix. I'm going to change to the sound that I call sus sub. And let's see what's going to happen when let me go back to Ableton here. So now I'm going to just play one note here. Low bass note. And that was that. And I'm going to play another. I'm going to go crazy. I'm going to go for a third one. And back to the... So now I'm going to bring the filter down on looper 2. All the way. I'm reversing the looper now. I'm bringing it back now. And also, it's kind of interesting, isn't it? Like how this is morphing now into something that we couldn't even imagine. Like, So some of the sounds I'm hearing now, like especially the high ones, I have no idea where they come from. I mean, I know that there's a reason why they're there, but I just, I even can't follow that anymore. So now the high part with the clean stuff is kind of like starting to annoy me a little bit. So again, so what I will do here, I will just raise the length and the volume of the reverb on looper 2 where the clean sounds are. Well, it's not only the clean sounds now, it's already cross feedbacking, we know that, but I'm gonna fade that down and then pitch the whole thing up an octave, and I'm just gonna fade it back in. Okay, so for some reason the pitching up hasn't worked, so I'll have to do that again.
Far in the distance, you can hear it.
No, it didn't work. For some reason, it hadn't registered the button on my keyboard. But now we should get it. Yeah, there we go. But as I'm bringing the higher pitched part up, I'm actually filtering the highs down, so to create some sort of like crossfade. Now I can hear kind of like voice-like sounds. So now it's starting to get too much for me, so I'm filtering it. And then let's, just for the sake of it, just bring it down an octave from the original recording. So now the clean sounds will be creating some sort of more low-end information. And you see there's one aspect of this kind of looping which is really super unique, I find. Like, even though the low end is not very precise, I played a C, I played an F, I played a G, and like we're in C minor here. So so those three notes, they overlap at all times, but somehow it does. I mean, it is sort of like muddy at the low end, but it's not undefined. Like there's like so much going on there that there's always like one of the frequencies that kind of finds its ways into the foreground of what our ears and our minds hear as like a tonality or like a key. There you go, this is the F or the G, yeah. Oh, I heard both, yeah.
Do you think the quality of the input has something to do with this not muddying up in the low end?
Well, I really think this is just the quality of my playing or of my experience with this setup. Like, you know, if you would do it and you wouldn't be sure what you were doing, it may be difficult, right? But like this, with all the years of doing this, and also the way, like this, something I said. I mean, I said a lot in the first meeting we had. the you know, the way that you feel, the attitude towards the notes that you play is most crucial.
Yeah.
And really, this is like how I can explain it. You see, so this is just like, I have to say, I really enjoy this piece a lot, you know. And it has these nice crunchy overtones that now start to happen. And all I'm doing here is I'm kind of fiddling with currently with the filter here on looper 2, and also the reverb mix here. This reverb mix and reverb time, I tied them together. So you see, like with one turn of a knob, I can bring both, say, all the way down. Here I set a lower limit, like 3.79 seconds for the reverb time and 35% of the mix. If I bring it up, then it goes to 100% mix and like 22.7 seconds there. So let's see what else we can do. So let's see what happens if I filter down looper 1 now. I'm gonna go on looper 1, so you'll see. Filtering this, taking this out of the mix basically. While I do that, I actually raising the volume on looper 2. This is just this very subtle movement that you maybe saw or not. Because like when you're taking something out, you always need to like counterbalance, or you don't always have to do that, but like if you want to have a smooth transition. So now you see like the looper 1 is out of the picture. Now we can kind of like say we can just bring it up an octave and reverse it. Now I'm gonna fade it back in slowly. And you see I'm also here changing the reverb settings on looper 1. So now looper 1 is also running backwards. So that gives us a little more like discernible rhythm here. And I'm not so sure if I like that, but why not? So as it's gonna get like super resonant here now, I'm turning the level down as I'm bringing the filter up. Yeah, so now we're getting these interesting artifacts from the resampling that happens between the loopers. Because the loopers, they are always recording the signal at the sample rate that they are set to. So if I'm going, you know, if I'm going an octave down on looper 1, stuff that's being recorded into it coming from looper 2 will also be recorded at half speed. Yeah, that means so if I bring it back up, then what has been recorded into it will be brought up an octave as well. And this allows for this really super detailed fractal structures in the sound. So I'm going to give it more reverb here. Looper 1, more reverb. And yeah, so let's just say we want to like have more, even more bass. Let's try that. Let's go crazy here. And on looper 2, we're going to go another octave down. So these high-pitched things we hear, that's actual feedback. Okay, so I'm not enjoying the high-pitched stuff from Looper 1 so much anymore, so I'm gonna bring that down. And so what we're hearing now is basically just Looper 2. So I'm now gonna just play another couple notes here. I'm going to show you on the input channel, I have also like a reverb and a delay, and I'll just turn that up to 100% here. So now this one note is, so the first note I played there was a B flat, now I'm playing an E flat. Now I'm going for the D, which is kind of like the ninth. It was just a little bit of a dissonance here for some people. But it also sounds like a chord change in a way, because now I'm following it up with the G. I'm going to go for an F. Back to G. And so natural resolution of this phrase would be to go back to a C, which I won't. So I will go to a B flat. Now you're hearing the part come back. So you know, this is mostly Looper 2 that we're hearing. Looper A is kind of like faded down so much. So, but now I'm bringing this up here, so we should be able to hear more of this again. Okay. I want to add a little bit more of a kind of like sub bass here now. So this is here on the input channel, and see there's still a lot of reverb and delay on it. Let's just take that off. So the interesting thing that happens here, I noticed just now that the C that I'm playing here actually has the overtone, like the -7th in it, the B flat. Okay, I just played 3 or 4 C's there. Opening up the filter on Looper 2 now to give us all the signal. The funny thing being, like, since it's been pitched down so much, the parts that I just recorded, right now, they are still being played back at their original speed. But should I decide to bring Looper 2 back up, and I'm gonna do that now. I'm actually gonna bring it up 2 octaves. A little bit of filter on the top end. looper 1, down 2 octaves, and back to forward. Now I'm bringing looper 2 back up, and now also looper 1. Lots of rumbling here. So in a state like this, you see, like with both loopers being either kind of very low pitched or faded out by cutting the high end, we're creating this new mood. So, and like in a normal situation, and maybe I should consider this to be a normal situation, I would kind of like play an end.
Question, are you ever changing the length of the looper during the course of a performance?
Well, I did. Did you see? Like I did pitch it up and down. That is the changing of the length of the looper. Yeah. So I do change it, but I never kind of like, I mean, what never, it's not true. But you see, like the idea here is that I have both. Well, I'll just bring it back, what's in here. Okay, and I'm just going to show you. So yeah, it would be possible to delete one loop and then, you know, set the length of the loop again. Yeah, but you would lose the content of it, at least in the setup, in the way that I've set this up. You see, so this was interesting. So I played an end, and I played the end by actually playing a few notes on the input channel. At the same time, I just faded the other, you know, the two loopers out. The way that I do this is a little bit of it's not a trick, but obviously you see, like here, we have the utility plugin, which has a volume control gain, and the reverb is after it. So what I do is I have a fader here on my controller where I can no, sorry, we're on the wrong one here. We are looper 1. So you see, I can bring this guy up in front of the reverb. That means if I just shut it off like this, it still sustains because the reverb is long. So let me demonstrate like this. Yeah, so this way, by having this control, and I've set it up for both loopers, this way I can kind of crossfade from one state of the loop to another. So if I wanted, you know, like to go up an octave here on looper 2, let me just show you like this. I would just, you know, I guess you can see this. So I would first turn it down like this, then go up, up an octave, and then bring it back in. You're almost hearing no difference now because it's all faded down here. So there's this other thing that you can see here. The fidelity of everything is just incredible, right? I mean, it really is because of the way that I've set this up with the feedback and the you know, the automated controls as I demonstrated last time. And you see, there's not much happening here. I'm not EQing anything. So it's just really a matter of listening to what's there and you know, reacting to it. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to delete both. Oh, clean, you know, they're now empty. And let's start with something else. Any requests what I should be doing with the loopers?
Markus,
Yes?
are you using the filter as a volume?
Yes.
With the nano control, I think, no?
Yes, on the nano control, I have for each of the looper channels, I have 3 volume controls. I have the channel itself. You see this, right? I have the filter,
yeah,
which is kind of like a frequency dependent volume control in a way. And then I also have the utility plugin here, which is this. And so this way, like this fader here, this fader is actually at the end of this chain. We can't see it, but it's at the end of this chain. So that means that the utility is actually situated before the channel. And this way I can, like, for example, sometimes like when you're filtering something down, it also gets like here, it gets softer. Yeah. And in that moment I could bring it up a little bit. Yeah. And so it's really the interaction of these 3 controls that allow me to make these smooth transitions from one state to the other. Yeah. And it's really nice, and it's not really, it really feels like playing an instrument also. It's not something that is kind of like technical when you've set up the controller. It's really something beautiful. And
it's like not on off, but you can go to frequencies.
Exactly, and that has always been important to me. You know, like the looping that most people do is sort of like this phrase-based thing, and like you know, when it became popular, people kind of like, you know, thought of it more as like a practice tool or something like that. And then on some loopers, and most of them actually, you could only shut them off. You couldn't even like fade them down and something. And so like from the very beginning, I thought, you know, like we need to have a way to kind of work with them, to massage them, so we can create like these continuous pieces of music rather than on off. Exactly. Yeah, it's a very good point. So give me any musical cues or ideas, and I'll try to turn that into a piece of music.
Well, you are using do you hear me, Markus?
Yes.
Yeah, you are using a kind of a diatonic scale. Or
yeah, this was just C minor scale.
Yeah. So is it possible to make an improvisation where you would have a shift of a semitone or a tone, or at certain moments use a change of speed instead of minus plus 12, 24, 7 or 5?
Yeah, of course. Okay, let me show you. And I'm actually going to start out with playing, say random pitches. Okay, so I'm not going to consider them. I'm just going to react to what I'm hearing. And for now, I'm just going to, yeah, why not? I mean, I'm just going to record full volume into looper 1 and at half volume into looper B, just to have a little bit of time before it gets really dense. Okay, So I'm just going to start with a, more like with a simple fluty kind of sound. Okay, so both loopers are in record now. And by the way, yeah, I have to stop once again. I just saw that I had quantization on. So I want to have that off. This was just maybe at the end of the last session that okay. Okay, so here we go.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Another thing I was thinking about is using, instead of using one note as a repetition, using a set of notes but played very quickly so that it makes just a starry effect or a sparkling effect.
Yeah.
And a different kind of sound.
Yes.
Just
yes.
sweeping notes.
Yeah. No. For now, I'm just going to stick to the single notes because you know, again, I'm not sure if you were there for the first session we did, but in order to demonstrate how things happen, it makes sense to stick with really simple sounds. I'm even like kind of sad that I don't have simpler sounds for you tonight. Okay, so bear with me. I'm just going to use something similar, and then maybe later on something faster. Okay. So okay, both.
So no tonal center.
Yeah, so this is not going to be like tonal. I mean, it's always going to be tonal, but so I'm just going to do some. So all the notes I'm playing and all the double stops I'm playing right now, they're completely improvised. I'm just putting my fingers anywhere. So this is not a scale or anything. It's just improvised. I mean, it's possible that my hands are so well trained that they know where to go, but I'm just not thinking about that right now. So there's your half step at the end. Okay, so looper 1 is already in overdub mode. Looper 2 is still recording, so now I'm going to overdub here. So here on looper 1, you just heard the repeat coming already. So on looper 2, we will have something as well, but not as loud because I did this here, right? So we get like this halo here at a lower level, but I can hear it. So you see, we have something that's kind of chromatic. Okay, and I'm now going to add like a low note. Okay, so this is what I recorded, right? So now we can do some interesting things here. So for example, looper 1. Or let's do looper 1. So if we turn this one down, see that will be. You hear that what's in looper 2 is much softer. So now we only got looper 2. Okay, so now here I can say like -7. That's a fifth lower. So I can bring looper 1 back. Kind of like a dramatic effect here. So now we get some like really interesting transition here. So, and also like something that I do quite a bit is during a performance, I just type in a number here, let's say like 1. So now looper 2 has been pitched up a half step. And like 3 half steps. So as you know, all these results of these audio processings, they will be recorded into the other loop. You see, we haven't really changed the tempo of the session at all. We haven't changed anything about the like the modulation of the sense. Let's just put it on glitch for a moment. So glitch is basically like the fades, but with jumps in there. And actually, I'm also going to do that on the input.
Hey, so I wasn't at the previous session where you talked about those clips, but what do those clips contain? Because it doesn't sound like they contain like notes, right? They're probably like automation.
It's automation, yes.
Right. Okay. Thanks.
It's dummy clips that include automation, and
right.
that's the only way you can get this, you know, to automate the sense. Because you cannot put clips on the return channels, and that's why you have to reroute the you know, the sense here, and then you take them back into the mixer here.
Do you ever experiment with the random follow action on those clips?
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah. I definitely thought about you, and I learned about those.
Yeah. It's old, let's say.
Yeah.
Turns out that for this kind of thing, it makes sense that I do have some control over it. But yes, you can create some complex movement here by having follow actions, which probably most people don't know what that is, but it doesn't matter. Okay, so here we have the glitching now, and so I'm just turning the reverbs down on both looper channels now. So now we're going to hear better what's actually going on. Now you can hear that we have these jumps there. So now, like I said, I have this glitch, and like fade in with glitches also on the input channel. So what that means what we're going to hear when I play through the input channel is still going to be the signal as it comes out of the Helix. But what is going to go into the process is going to be the faded in and glitched thing, this here. So now I'm just going to play a couple of crunchy dissonant chords into it. So I'm actually surprised myself how smooth all of this sounds. Just so you guys know, it's now you can hear some high notes. So here, I'm going to show you, like, because this may be a little difficult here, I'm going to play some cleaner tones now. I'm also going to lower the feedback now on the loopers for the first time today. Which with the glitch on the input channel, it's really crazy for me because I really have no idea what gets recorded. So in a normal situation, I wouldn't even want to hear what I play. So I wouldn't send this to the master channel. I would say sends only, which means that I mean, if I do that now, maybe getting a click. Let me try. No, so this is good. So now I can play a lot of stuff here, and we won't even hear it. Not hearing it direct. So these are going to be, Jean-Philippe, these are going to be like faster things now, but they're going to be randomly faded into. And these loops are super long, you know? So.
Like what time are the loops, Markus, more or less?
This is like one of the stupid things about this here in Ableton. I have no idea. You can't see. You see it kind of like this one. How long it takes for one of these to go by, I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, I've run into that too. It's the same thing with the clips too. You can't like, it won't go from clip to clip. It's annoying.
Yeah, it's just like with the looper doesn't show you the time in seconds or anything. So now you see, now we've come around. Now you hear the fastest.
You measure your composition in bars, or like little nuggets.
Yeah, I mean, you know, this piece of software comes from the DJ scene, right? Originally. So again, here we're getting into like, let's just go a little crazy here. And we could even just raise the tempo to something crazy. This goes to something like, you see what's happening with the automation here. It's just so fascinating, really, to do this. You know, the loop length doesn't change because of that. So we get this crazy thing. Like, yeah, we have the rotary here on D, a little bit more of that. Yeah, so this is kind of like actually fading out the, like there's an extra reverb channel which I just faded out. Okay, and here. Oh, I see that my camera recognizes my microphone as a face. Very nice. So you see, like doing something like this, You have no idea what it does to the music. I mean, you could say it's just chaotic, it's just crazy. It is, but it's all deterministic, you know. There's no random process in place here at all. So we get these really nice.
Except the moment when you play.
Exactly. And that the question is how random is that? No? Super random.
Good question.
Yeah.
So, can you resume to a very consonant, very slow and calm atmosphere from where we are now?
Yeah, that's easy. But I mean, do you really want it calm?
No. I'm just asking.
Yeah. So I would, you know, the easiest way here would be to, like, you have control over your master channel, your input channel, and I see the input channel as something that is, you know, as yeah. So we hear all the glitching now from the. Yeah, so of course we can do that. And here you see, I mean, I find it quite fascinating to kind of try to return to something less crazy. And what we could do is we could, you know, the two loopers are still, they still carry that information. Okay, so that means we can just say, let's pitch them down like considerably, like 3 octaves. Now this, I have no idea what this sounds like. It's here. Jean-Philippe, this sounds like, you know, without the chord, it sounds like the beginning of your piece. The cool thing is, like, while we do this, the sound that's coming in here on the input, it's being recorded into the loop still. Could also do something like this here. With the sustain pedal, the plus pedal, which I have in the Helix, I can now switch patches on the Helix and get these different variations of the held sound. So now I'm just fading the loops out completely. So now all you hear is the Helix. And I have these. These are the different treatments. You can hear. No chorus. Yeah, this may be the time to show you what this is. So this was the sustained sound without chorus, sustained sound with chorus, sustained with synthesizer, sustained with crunch, sub, like an octave down, then with a synthesizer an octave up, and then the sub distorted. Yeah, so these are the sounds I've been using. So you see, while I was doing and demonstrating this, all of this got recorded into
That's a nice one.
Yeah. So we've kind of completely transformed this now, huh? I mean, it's super nice for like sound design. I mean, it's probably not good for people who work for film or something, because you need like very quick results. You're basically taking pre-produced stuff, but like this, it's like super unique, you know. It's, just beautifully intricate. And you know, all the glitches, the little clicks that we're getting, they don't sound like mistakes.
No, I was just thinking the same.
Yeah.
They just seem right.
Yeah. Because like also the pattern that they have is like it's a predetermined pattern somehow, right? So we hear these now. This was, you hear these changing sounds on top. That was the demonstration of the sounds on the Helix that got recorded here.
Okay.
So we're coming back with a little bit of reverb. Yes. Okay, so I have no idea what time it is. Can somebody tell me? Is it? Okay, this was the first hour. Okay. Okay, so let's go to something else. So I'll just fade this out in a moment, and let's just give me more questions or more ideas, more things I can demonstrate.
One question from the chat was, are the glitches random or not?
No, they're not random, because the automation has very well defined parameters. Yeah, so it's not random. No. Yeah, I mean, maybe I can show again for those who weren't there last time. So you see this.
I feel like you could use the follow actions to make something that's random, though, if you wanted to do that, right?
I mean, that's so easy to do, Jacob. It's not really a concern of mine to do something that's random.
Oh, I know. Yeah, sorry, I was thinking about that question.
But yes, exactly. With the random follow action, that would be the easiest way to create a random automation here. Yeah, you see, like I have, like here in this clip, we have these 4 cents, and so there's automation for each of these. Right, and you see this is the pattern for, I don't even see what's B reroute, this guy here. This is the one for C, and this is the one for D, and then they're all different, and they are all also have different length. I try to make sure that all the clips that you see here, that all of them have a different length, so none of them has the same duration.
And you set this up in advance?
Yeah. Yeah, this is basically what I showed in the previous session, how to do that. Yeah, so this is set up in advance, but it could also be done live actually. But yeah, it's a lot of work to put this in. And you see, this is the one that I call rhythm because it just goes on and off, like with the fades here, for example. The fades are just fades. See that? Right. And actually, if I go back to fades here. I quite like what's going on there right now, I have to say. And you know, this keeps morphing all the time, like it never repeats. It's just fascinating. So I will just keep this going while I can answer more questions, or we can already talk about what I should be doing next.
Markus, this is Theogenes.
Yes,
this way of looping lends itself to very legato textures, very long, evolving harmonies. There are a lot of other styles of looping. I'm thinking David Torn has a very different approach, where he's always got these nice little twiddly bits along with the more legato evolving sort of harmonies.
Yeah.
Is this sort of approach in your Ableton set primarily just for legato things? Have you experimented with, say, other textures, other approaches?
Yeah, I would say yes, it is. It is just for that kind of style that I sort of have developed, kind of inspired by what Robert Fripp did in the early 90s. It's just that musically I'm not that interested in some other kind of looping. Yeah, I mean, it's maybe that's not true, but it's just something I rarely do when using the laptop. Like if I'm just using some pedals that do like glitch delays and stuff like that, then that's different. And I do that in the studio. But right now here with this kind of setup and with what I've developed in the past few years, this is kind of like the style that I've worked on. Also, you need to know that like David Torn, for example, he actually uses a real electric guitar and he uses amps, amplification, and really great sounding fuzz boxes and stuff. Like what I'm showing you here, everything comes from very clean sounds, and it's a very different approach. So I don't, and this is something I have to say, I don't feel that like digital multi effects like the Helix, for example, lends itself very well to getting like these organic fuzz tones that David Torn's getting, for example. I mean, I think it's possible, but not in a situation like this where I just have the pedal board here going directly into the laptop, and it's just kind of like not what I'm interested in. Yeah, but it would obviously it would be possible to use this setup completely differently. You could throw out anything that has like a delay or reverb or and make things that are just direct. And I mean, we can try something like that. I mean, let's just go here and say that on the crunch sound, we're gonna mute the reverb and the delay, and on the input channel here, we're also gonna mute the delay and the reverb. So now I'm just gonna yeah, I'm really fascinated by this piece here. I'm sorry. So, but I'm gonna end it now.
It's fascinating. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed it. So here we go. So now I faded it into a long reverb tail. Okay, so once I press delete or stop here and then clear, everything's gone. I'm going to do that now. Stop first, that, bring the speed up to normal, and like here, I think I have a control for this too. Yeah. So here, so now let's say, like these two loopers, they're not being sent to the verb and the rotary anymore. I've muted the reverbs and delay here on the input channel. I can also mute them here. So, and I'm not going to say that I will be able to produce something worthwhile now, but let's just see what happens.
Marcus, just a quick note on Looper 1, it looks like you have the quantization set to global, and I don't know if you intended to do that or if it has any effect compared to none.
Yeah, it's not a problem, but thanks for telling me. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, so we could even like do this here. This is the sus crunch. Let's even take the. So now we should be getting like an ugly, kind of an ugly sound here. It's quite soft. Let me see. For some reason, the Ableton Live window is not coming back. Ah, here it is. So it's, and I still have the synth in there. Sorry. Okay, I can take this out. So now we just have like a little bit of this dirty sound here, and here we go. And then let's see. You can just do something here. I didn't take it. Why? Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the value of this is, but
Sounds like Primus.
yeah, exactly.
It could work if you enter it into a much longer looper and then you change the length of this one.
Yeah, just listen now. Now you're getting the interaction here. And now you're hearing the cross feedback, huh? So just turn this down. But I'll better bring this back up 100% here. Yeah, I have to say it's interesting. I mean, we could like and I mean, kind of like this is the kind of stuff that a lot of guys do, you know, just yeah. So really, so it can easily get into this kind of glitch territory, yeah. So
seduction of a modem.
yeah, there you go. so you see, I just changed a few things, right? I took the reverbs out, made the loops shorter. The sound that was going into it was kind of like a little uglier in the first place, and you get like something completely different out of it. So yes, I mean this. And I hope you understand that, you expected that. I mean, when I'm showing you something, I'm showing you how I do the things that I do. But really the setup, and this is what I'm hoping, that some of you will take this and take it somewhere else, like, you know, make different kinds of music with it, or, you know, use different input sounds, or even, you know, write your own automation, come up with a system with like 8 loopers or whatever, you know, like some things that will be like even more evolved than what I do, because I have to admit, I've been stuck, kind of, well, not stuck, but I've been like working with this setup for 13 years now, something like that, 12 years. And you know, that's also why I've gotten good at it, but it also means that I'm kind of tired of it. And so anything that, like if Theo, if you want to do something more David Torney with this, that would be great, you know. So let's see. Now we're back to okay, let me just turn these things back on. So you see what I'm doing here is, so I have the reverb going into delay, and I can control this here. So it's kind of like an interesting way, because you actually have get this strange. So now actually I'm using my volume pedal to fade in while I'm so let me just see, let's just start recording. You see now, like one guy is on glitch here, so we're hearing the glitches coming back. And so the reverb on this one was off, so bringing this back in now here. Yeah, feel free to talk. It's okay. So today I haven't set up any like lead sound or anything, because that was just not the idea, to just kind of play melodies on top of this. But what we could try, like on the clean sound, we could give it a distortion. And something like this and see what happens. So I'll just keep playing. If you don't say anything, I'll just assume that this is okay. So all the notes, the sustained notes I'm playing on top of this, they're all freely improvised. Like I'm not following any rule. I'm just putting my fingers wherever.
Marcus?
Yes?
This is Mark. If you wanted to solo over the loop without getting recorded on it, would you just kill the sends on the input?
Yeah, so right now that wouldn't be so easy, Mark, because what I do is I'm basically recording what ends up on the master channel, and that's what you guys are hearing here, right? So the way to do that, you would have to kind of create a bus, let's say like a sub bus, where I would be summing these 4 channels and then would record them, and at the same time in parallel I would be recording the input channel onto a separate track. And once that kind of setup is in place, I can basically also decide just to play on top of it without it getting recorded. Yeah. But in the current setup, which I try to keep kind of like the way that it was last time, it wouldn't be that easy. What I could do, obviously, I can turn down this, so what I play is not going to get recorded into the loopers, but we would hear it, but it would still get recorded here into my recording.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Markus.
Yes.
Can you change the clips in real time? What it's sounding?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, you
Yeah.
can. You can change anything and everything at all times.
And how does that alter the sound?
Look here. You see?
Okay. For example.
Yeah, anything. That's kind of like the cool thing about here. See, this is the glitch clip. So you see, it's
okay.
It looks very similar here, but it has the glitches in it, and I could go in and just, like
something rhythmic, for example, just to see what happens.
Yeah, the rhythmic looks like this. It's just an on-off pattern. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and I could very easily like simply kind of change it or.
And you always look with these clips on, or?
No, you see it. I like the bottom row here is called reset, right? So reset basically puts everything on zero.
Back. Okay.
Yeah. And I can also just simply stop the automation here, right? Do that also. I can also just go on stop above here, but that would stop the recording, so I don't want to do that.
Okay.
But yeah, you can use the looping also without the system, without the automation.
But it seems to me that there are very subtle changes, or not?
What do you mean?
I don't hear much difference.
Oh yeah, no, it's morphing all the time. It's quite slow. You see, we still have the looper 1 going to looper B and looper A going to looper 2 going to looper 1. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But since the loops are very long, it's the original loops I took, but 4 times as long because I transposed it down 2 octaves, and I did that on both. You see, these are very long. And so because it's fading in and out. You can see the speed of the fades in and out. It's kind of like taking little chunks and replacing them and shuffling around the elements. So and that's cool because the initial quality and atmosphere of what is in the loopers is not getting destroyed. It's just getting rearranged. And
so it takes all the time of the clip to change from one to another, right? Or
yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
But we have
slow.
But we have 2 loopers, so that's why it's not true. Like it's always morphing. It's always different. Yeah, because the loopers coincide differently, and they morph. Each of them morphs. So that way it's like it's never the same twice.
Okay.
But as you say, it keeps its integrity, and that is just beautiful about it.
Yeah, and Markus, this is Jerry. I know that in the past you have let the loopers run because of the morphing for several hours. I was also curious if you've let that run and develop, and then several hours later inputted some new notes onto composition.
Yeah, exactly. And something like that already happened, like in the first piece I did today, where I did that. And like here, like right now, you can see like here, I'm filtering things down quite a bit, right? So now this kind of like gives the opportunity to play something else on top. Let's try some just run some simple sustain notes. It's kind of nice, like these low filtered down melodies that we can hear underneath. And so what I do, I can't help myself but listen to what I'm doing and what's going on actually. And I sort of respond.
Art of counterpoint.
Yeah, it's counterpoint, exactly. Yeah. So it's kind of complex and like I don't know, like a lot of parts, but there's always something you can pick out as something to latch onto. Sure, that's also why, and this is the kind of like also a topic I have a lot with my students, is that all 12 notes, they always work. It's just that as you play the note, as you make the statement, basically, you kind of like have to sort of like become totally aware and confident about the relationship of that very note to what's going on. So here's like this little trick that I showed you last time. Like again, like on the input now, I'm actually asking it to fade these short notes into loopers 1 and 2. So let me just fade looper 1 back in. You see, like there's a lot of information in there which we did not hear before when it was filtered down. So now I'm putting more reverb on it, as you can see there on the right. You know what, I'm just going to bring this one back down again, and I'm going to pitch it up an octave. You see, while I'm doing this, I'm even holding the note on the input channel to create some sort of bridge, some sort of transition between whatever I'm doing here.
Instead of a low pass filter, can you use the band pass?
Yeah, of course. Shall we try that?
Yeah, why not?
So on looper 2. Well, let's looper. Yeah, you can hear it here.
Yeah, the other way around. The opposite.
This way.
Yes.
Yeah. I can do that here.
Markus,
yes?
Is there any relationship between the delay times that you set up? Because you've got quite a few delays, right?
Let me see. I don't think, do I have any delays? No, I don't. I don't think I have a single delay in this. No.
The loop is a delay.
The loop is a delay, but no extra delays here. Not at all. Thanks for pointing that out. Yeah. So you see here on the auto filter, let's just sorry, when it sometimes takes. Okay, I'll do this. Here we go. No, but there are no delays in this. Yeah, so all the delay effects you're hearing, and this is like Jean-Philippe was right there, it actually comes from the two loopers interacting.
Yeah, it was more related to the other piece that you were playing before. I think there were some delays.
Ah,
right?
okay, that was
hit.
yeah, that's on the Helix. That was here on the Helix. I have one delay here at the end.
Because I was kind of listening to two delays, like a top delay.
No, you see, this is here the setting. These are the settings here of the ping pong delay.
Also, there was a very short looper time.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, now I know what you mean. Sorry, on the input channel, yes, on the input channel I have this delay, and I can control. I showed that before. Maybe you didn't see it. I can also control here the mix of both the long tail reverb and the delay with one control. So if I'm just taking like my clean sound here again, let me just repair it and return it to something that I don't know. Yeah, let's just see. Yeah, just giving you. Yes, this. So this is a combination. So turning this one off. So this ping pong is from Ableton. It's this guy here. So I can bring it up so you hear it louder. Yeah. So, and I haven't set it to any specific time. I think it's synced to the session tempo. And here it's 600 milliseconds. So it's just random. I think it's what the block had when I put it into for some reason. Sometimes it doesn't bring Ableton back. Here we go. And as I explained before, the reverb goes into the delay, which is quite a different. So now it's just the two delays. There you go. So now what happened? I didn't. Christopher, did you want to say something?
Yeah, actually, I just had a question. I was listening to the piece you put up yesterday as the donation piece.
Yes.
And it had a really vocal quality. Like I know you tend not to use samples in your work, but parts of it I would have sworn you were using a vocal sample or even a choir sample. Was that just because of the filtering you were doing? Because it had to my ear, had a very vocal quality to it.
Yeah. To be quite honest, I don't remember how I did it because the basic piece. No, the basic piece is maybe from 2011 or something, and I just mastered it for this release. So I honestly don't know, but I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, it sounds like there are some like orchestral samples in there, right?
Yeah, I would have sworn you did, but I know that's not a territory you tend to go into.
Well, that's not exactly true. Like for example, with Mark Wingfield, with the group we have, the duo we have, we're doing like these very experimental duo recordings. And the last couple that I produced, I actually used the process of extracting the pitch information from the loops that we had played, and used some a sample library to actually orchestrate loops with orchestral samples. You can find that on Bandcamp also.
You're crossing over into the dark side.
Well, it's not the way that I use it. I don't think it's the dark side. and everything, all the sounds. I mean, just like I'm using like these basic guitar tones here, and I turn it into something like this, and I do the same with any sound source. It doesn't matter. Like to me, it's all just vibration, and yeah. I mean, but I wouldn't let them go through untreated though, you know. This, I wouldn't enjoy that.
Of course.
Yeah. So let's see, like here on one of these, we still have the band pass here. So this is where like these melodies live. And now it gets really mid-rangey, like really nasally. Wow. Yeah, but then we can bring this all the way here. Now this is some really nice kind of low end here. Sorry, high end. You see, so from looper 1 we're getting the high end now. From looper 2 we're getting the low end. Can give this a little bit more of the. See, the cutoff is at about like what, at like 800, 900 kilohertz. No, hertz, and then like 1 kilohertz here. So there's like these nice melodies in there. So, and you know, even those plugs that I played before to demonstrate the delays should be in here somewhere. We'll hear them at some point. Okay, so now here we're in a situation, maybe you hear it too. Now you can actually hear the panning very well. Like, and then, you know, the panning is not trivial, as you know. Like the panning is always like in front of the two loopers, and it's quite subtle. But then you get this cumulative effect of the cross feedback of the panned materials in the loopers. So it's quite interesting right now. Like here's this state where you can hear the going from left to right.
So the loopers are stereo input, right?
Yes, they are. They are stereo by default here. You can't change them to mono actually. So if you wanted to have the mono, you would have to make sure the signal you're sending into it is mono. But that reminds me of something that I also wanted to show you. But it's kind of like getting into like the darkest secrets of this. Because you can also manipulate the stereo width of materials of stereo channels. So basically, you can turn something from something that's very wide to something that's very narrow. And I did quite a few experiments with automating those processes as well, where you know, like part of the idea for this here is that you get kind of like these nested spaces. You know, some elements are like very far in the back, some are kind of it's really three-dimensional the way that I hear this. And then once I started even modulating the stereo width of the looper signal, it was absolutely crazy. Like in a way it was incomprehensible even what was happening, but it also added another layer of depth into this kind of composition. So you hear this, like some of the glitchy parts we had at the very beginning, like 15 minutes ago. So now we hear them sometimes. Well.
Markus,
yes?
2 questions for you, philosophical and a practice question. First one is, why do you think we loop? And secondly, I noticed that you're absolutely fascinated by cross feedback, by organic surprises. Where do you think that came from, and why are you attracted to that?
Why do we loop? I don't know, because we can, I guess. Because it's sort of a human being really wouldn't be able to. You can play something repeatedly, but you know, and how far is that like an exact copy? And I have to say, like in the traditional sense, I'm not interested in looping anymore. But as you say, like this organic approach approach with the cross feedback, it's just, what I like about it is that I get surprised by it. That's things, you know, like constellations of effects or movements that I make, notes that I play, create something that excites me because it sounds wonderful to me, or even like sometimes like I said at the beginning when I played these 3 or 4 bass notes that could potentially have sounded dissonant with each other, but they didn't. This is the kind of finding that I find fascinating, and this is like anything in a way, because I was being educated traditionally, like classical music theory and stuff, and you know, like people always tell you the things that you can't do and that shouldn't work, and I was always interested in kind of showing myself and also showing other people that it works indeed if you do it right. So it's very egotistical in a way, this approach. It's just for myself, and that's why I'm happy that I don't know how many people are actually here in this meeting tonight, like 30 maybe, I think. So it's fascinating that you're interested in this.
I like the response. I like the response from Robert in the chat, who says, Robert Fripp said, it is the easiest way to make a lot of noise with one guitar.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, it's not about the noise. Like this constellation now here is incredible. Yeah, I just love this kind of stuff. And
Markus,
really, yeah.
This is Gregory. I guess it's a music theory question, because so we're in a kind of space, a tonality. For me, it's at the moment a bit of an ambiguous tonality, but when you're soundscaping, do you ever think of like it's going to be really like sad, like a dark tonality for the first couple of minutes, and then it's going to morph to be very like major and happy? Or how would you get this kind of like to make a more kind of harmonic development in soundscaping?
Yeah, I actually I have to say I hate it when I get into that kind of territory, but I can't help it when I'm performing. Like what I'm doing right now, this is more like what I would do for a recording session when I work on my own music, let's say, like only for myself. But for example, the recent streaming concert I did for Progstock, it's on my Bandcamp. That's like a 45-minute continuous performance where I think it has like maybe 4 or 5 different sections. And as I was playing that, I was thinking along those lines. Like I started out with something was very free, played a solo on top of it, was completely free harmonically. I didn't know what was coming, so I played freely. I just listened, tried to fit in. And then once that seemed like it was going on for a little bit too long, I started kind of fading in to some, I can't remember now, but like some minor chord. It's something like just 3 pitches, and then took it from there, and then it became something that was like a little bit like harmonic minor or something like that. And in the end, I wanted to end on a positive note, so I ended up in E major, and I remember that at the very end, I played a sustaining note that was like, I can remember exactly now, it was maybe an F sharp. So like the very last note took us out of the E major territory into something that then sounded like F sharp Dorian or something like that. Yes, I do think along those lines, and I think like one of my superpowers is that I can do both. I can be very analytical about what I'm playing. I can remember exactly what I did, even like if I want to, even if something has been like 30 minutes ago, but I can also just sometimes just play and not think about anything, not consider any pitches, and And layer the superpower is to be able to go back and forth between the two. And here we go. Now we're into completely different territory again. Gregory, I hope that answered your question.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean the easiest way, and this was like a question that has been asked before, would be to kind of like you know, just play a chord. Okay, sorry. Like here's and we'd have our cheesy ending, right? As I said, I don't really like doing something like that, but sometimes it can be very effective. Okay, let me just delete all this here. So let me see what time it is. Yeah, so there's like 10 minutes left or something for questions, or like let's have a little bit of a discussion if anybody wants to say something. This has been an experiment for me, and even though at the beginning it felt like, you know, I don't need you know, 4 sessions to explain and show this, but to me now it feels like it was exactly the right thing to do. Yeah, and especially this last session I thought was interesting, where you guys can just watch what I do, you know, and you can ask questions. And
indeed, Marcus, this was invaluable. This was really great.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've found this incredibly intriguing, and of course now I'm going to have to end up buying Ableton, because a lot of stuff you've shown I've tried to replicate, of course, in Persona Studio One, which is the DAW I love.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the cross feedback things it just can't do.
Mm-hmm.
The Studio One, it's not set up to do that. It's a more traditional DAW. So
same for Reaper.
Yeah, so now I'm going to have to buy Ableton. So I blame you.
Yeah, I mean, don't blame me. I mean, Ableton is just absolutely incredible. I just said to my girlfriend yesterday, as she saw Ableton on our living room table, and it looks like a toy somehow, but it's the most powerful DAW in the world.
It's very powerful, but it is so, you know, I started out with Performer way back in the 80s, before it was digital, on an old Mac, and so I'm used to that sort of paradigm, and most DAWs follow that. Ableton is a very different beast, so it's going to take a little doing to wrap my head around it.
Christopher, that is true, but it's also not true, because Ableton also acts as a traditional DAW. It's just the tab key on your keyboard, and you get to the traditional view of like a timeline like this, and you can do exactly the same things and more that you can do in any DAW on the timeline. This clip view, actually, funnily enough, I only ever use it for my looping setup. You know, like normally when I produce, mix, master, arrange, I never use the clip view. So what you're seeing right now is really exclusive for this setup here. I mean, for me, because you can also like arrange and sort of fire off like these scenes. So for example, like these buttons here, they're you know, the start buttons, they're meant so that you can do something like this, right? You can start all these clips at the same time by clicking here. I mean, I didn't really want this to be any sort of endorsement for Ableton or even a tutorial on Ableton, but I guess like a lot of you know, some of you guys must have learned something about Ableton, and really traditionally I would do more of this processing in the pedal board already, like that's on the floor on the Helix. But as it turns out, like the way that I kind of try to show you guys these different modules that are needed. The first one was we did like a lot of talking about this whole thing. Then I showed you how to set up the pedal board, and then it turned out that is actually like quite simple actually, and the magic kind of happens in the Ableton setup. I totally agree. Okay, Hugo.
Do you have something on the floor right now?
Yes, I have this. I have this on the floor. The Helix is on the floor.
Just the Helix?
No, it's the Helix and the plus pedal by Game Changer Audio.
Okay, I thought you talk about this thing. Yeah.
Yes, and I also have the Boss SY300.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, and they are, you see they are patched into the FX Loop 1 is the plus pedal, and FX Loop 3 here is the synth.
Okay, so they are not right into the Helix, so they are patched into the
into the effects loops.
This is interesting. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Marcus, this is Mark.
Yeah.
Do you use Ableton for your production work as well?
Yes, exclusively. I mean, when I'm working on my own, when I'm working with other people, I use the software that those people use. So, but for my
I noticed you had Reaper on your machine too.
I have Reaper. I have Reaper because I work with a studio in Dresden, and they use Reaper, and so I need to be able to open their sessions. And like with my longtime partner Benjamin Schäfer here in Berlin, he uses Pro Tools, but I actually don't have a copy of Pro Tools on my computer anymore. Yeah, like I've been used to working with Pro Tools also, but like in the end it's all the same anyway, right? And this is like something that is really close to my heart, that all of you guys understand that the technical aspects, or just knowing which pedals I have, or even which guitar I play, or it's all secondary to the love for music and to the love for the process that you need to develop. Unless you actually do the work, let's say, you're not going to get anywhere. And it's kind of like it's sort of like a fact, right? Fact of life somehow. And I hope I can just inspire you, encourage you, motivate you to try something. And the cool thing, like I said, with this organic looping setup is that it really is like a partner that you can play with. It's not just it's like a living thing, and you can be alone and still interact with something. Yeah. So like for us loners, it's a nice, maybe that is the question to like Theo's question about the philosophy. Why do we loop? Maybe we loop not to be alone. Yeah.
Good.
Marcus, in terms of what you've recorded today, is your intention to make it available on Bandcamp or elsewhere?
I think I will. I can. I just need to decide if I want it to be available publicly, or if I'm just going to make it available and send it to you guys who were here tonight.
And also, as a follow-up, did you say that you were going to make the Ableton setup available as a download or something, or is that something private?
I'm thinking about that. Big part of the problem, and it always sounds like I'm whining, but like the problem is I have a really hard time making some money. And like when I saw that even for tonight's session, there was always only half of the amount of donations than for the third part, it's kind of discouraging. So then I'm starting to think, okay, should I sell the Ableton session to people? I mean, then what's the point of that? I mean, really, I could make a few bucks, but anybody could watch the video and just rebuild the session. You can rebuild the session yourself and make it better. So I don't know. Yes, I guess I will make it available. Yeah, probably this exact one. I'm gonna delete the plugins that are not part of Ableton, or I'm gonna replace them with plugins that are part of Ableton, and just send me an email, and I'll send you a copy.
I think you shouldn't, but that's your
Really?
point.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I would. I mean, I don't use Ableton at the moment, but for me, I would happily pay you. This is your secret sauce. This is something you've spent a lot of time on. And yes, anyone can watch this video and recreate it, sure. But you've already put in the hard work in tuning it and improving it and iterating it. From my personal point of view, I would happily pay you to get this. And frankly, I think you should charge for it, regardless of COVID and what have you.
Yeah,
I
agree. You know, the point is, guys, something that you may not understand is that if I charge for something that is related to music, people are not buying it. And I've spoken about this a few times, I think. But if I offer a download, even for like €3, yeah, people are not buying it. Maybe 10 people. If I offer it for free, 200 people download it, and like 50 people pay for it. So that's why, like this, I'm getting kind of like a little bit, don't want to say confused, but kind of like astounded at how things seem to be working these days. Yeah, I know for a fact that you guys like appreciate what I do, but if I try to be in the like the regular marketplace, let's say, I can't make any money off of what I do. So that's why I'm actually considering like even to do these events for free. Like I mean, like this one is kind of special because I didn't really publish the link, but normally like we could have like many more people watching and you wouldn't have to pay. But I don't know. But I hear you, and I'll keep thinking about it. Maybe there is a way to make it available, and then like again you can decide to donate again for it, something like that. I'll figure it out.
Either way, your efforts are incredibly appreciated. This has been a fantastic session, and the others have been really fascinating and given me lots of ideas. So thank you so much for the effort you put in.
You too.
I want to say, Marcus.
I second that, Marcus. Thank you.
If I can, that the VIP thing that you offer that offers all that music. If somebody wants to hear all your music, what is it? Something like 55 euros or something?
Yes.
50 euros. And then the thing Leo is offering, where it's 150 euros for the whole catalog, pretty much the whole Moon June catalog, is just crazy. So there's a lot out there, a lot of value, and then this on top of it for 20 euros is just incredible, and I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for everything. This is fantastic.
And for the sneak peek at the next Helix firmware.
Yes. Yeah, they asked me to come up with sounds for the Helix for the 3.0.
Cool. Oh, excellent. Waiting with bated breath.
That's cool.
So I'm gonna play a last little piece here.
Beautiful.
Nice.
Yeah, no
Jamming.
Thank you,
Okay.
Marcus. That was wonderful.
Thank you. So, yeah, thanks for being here. Let me now stop the screen sharing. Okay, it's been a pleasure to do this for you, with you, and I hope that we can continue to work together somehow. I'm planning to offer some online classes also on other subjects, music related. So you can, doesn't have to be music related, but mostly music related, music career related also. I think there's a lot I can help with there as well. Yeah, just feel free to always send me a private message, like make people sign up for the mailing list. I will have a tier recording session with Mark Wingfield in a couple of days, I think on Wednesday night, same time. And then on next weekend, I'll have Gary Husband on the show. Will be like more of like an interview, and I'm going to talk about his whole career and stuff like that. And yeah, would be wonderful to see you again. And thank you so much for this today. And I'll upload this video. We need to sync it, which is not easy. We'll do that. And so once it's up, I'll let you know, or just write to me. Okay. And any questions, if you want lessons with me, coaching, music theory, guitar, touch guitar, anything, just get in touch. Okay.
Thank you, Marcus.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much, Marcus.
Really enjoyed this.
Thanks.
Okay. See you guys soon.
Go love on that date.
Thank you, Marcus.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.